Hi everyone. In this video, I'm going to be creating a Christmas-themed BattleTech diorama. For Santa, I grabbed this atlas off of My Mini Factory, and a big thanks to Matt Mason for making it and a ton of other mechs and posting them for free. A link to all the models I used is in the description. Then I grabbed a few Santa accessories to complete his transformation. For our reindeer, I'll be using two different types of locusts. I didn't find any antlers I liked, so I'll be creating those later. I used Blender to tweak the Atlas's pose, then added his hat, beard, a stand that will be part of the sleigh, and finally a laser. I also created a couple of internal tubes so fiber optics could be routed to the laser and cockpit. For the Locust, I tweaked their stances so they all appeared to be in motion, added a harness with a spiraling cable pattern so they could be painted as candy canes, and created a pair of antlers in a mechanical style. The sleighs I found on the web all had a traditional curvy appearance, so I created one from scratch with a more angular mechanical style. I wanted the ground to emit a soft glow, so I modeled it as well so I could print it out in clear resin and light it later. I printed the models in clear resin so they could have internal light sources. After a bit of masking, I primed the mechs with several layers of black paint to block light and several layers of silver for a metallic base coat. The ground only got a thin layer of white primer since it'll be covered with snow later. I have little miniature painting experience, so I will be relying heavily on these Army Painter speed paints to give the mechs a shiny Christmas ornament look, and will be using fairy dust to touch up the silver. For Atlas Santa, I removed the masking from its face and applied one thin coat of fairy dust because speed paint is too transparent to be applied directly to the cockpit, and it would appear almost black without it. The sleigh's mech stand will get a coat of orc green. The coat, face, hat, and laser will get a coat of blood red. And finally, the boots will get two layers of Gravelord gray to get it closer to black. For the Locust reindeer, I painted the cockpit in fairy dust, and the rest of it was coated mostly in hardened leather. For our lead reindeer Rudolph, his laser and cockpit got a coat of blood red, and the other two got a coat of orc green. Finally, the cables were striped in red to give them a candy cane look. For Santa's bag, the cord got a coat of hardened leather, while the bag was coated in blood red, and the opening got a coat of zealot yellow to give it a golden glow later. For the sleigh, orc green was used to cover most of it, and a bit of blood red was used in the recesses on the side. Here's a comparison between the prints and a couple of tabletop minis from the 90s that I got off of eBay. I wanted to keep them of a similar scale with the tabletop minis, but routing the fiber would have been a lot easier if I increased it a bit. I think all of the paint jobs turned out well except for the sleigh. Speed paints are meant to flow into the detailed areas of models and create contrast, and don't work well on the large flat panels of the sleigh. For lighting effects, I am using two different sizes of fiber optic cable, sandpaper, scissors, and a few highlighters. The in-glow type of fiber optics is two-directional, so I scuffed the ends of the cable a bit to diffuse the light. For the lasers, I scuffed the fiber lightly at the beginning and more heavily at the end to balance out the glow effect, and then I used highlighters to color the light. For the cockpits and Santa's bag, I only scuffed the very end of the fiber because we only needed a little bit of diffusion. After that, I did a light check to make sure all the light sources were balanced. Then I threaded the fiber and installed the models on the base. The trees I am using only came with a slight snow effect, so I am increasing it a bit with snow made from a mix of PA glue and woodland scenic snow. After that, I mounted the rocks and bushes with super glue and the trees with UV resin. Next, I created a batch of snow that was light on PA glue to give it a chunkier effect. This will be used behind the mechs in the sleigh to give it a disturbed snow look. For the rest of the scene, I created a mix with a lot of PA glue to give it a smoother, untouched appearance. After the snow dried, I connected a 5mm LED to a DC power jack and taped the fiber to the LED. Then I installed the power jack and a switch into the base. The switch is unconnected for now and will only be used if I want to switch over to a 9-volt battery later. To control the amount of light passing through the ground, I covered the LED with metallic tape with slits in it. Time for the final shots. Thanks for watching, everyone.